this is a very new word called holistic， 就是全体。我们的人的 body 有5个阴茎 ，right？ So the brain, the heart, the lungs, the kidney, and also liver. Yeah, if any part's not working well, it's not optimized. So if you want to optimize, then you must take care of these 5 parts. In manufacturing, in industry, is the 5 KPIs. First is the cost. Cost is everything. If your cost is no good, sorry. Next one is quality. Then the speed. Then the delivery promise or reliability. The last one is the flexibility. So a lot of people forget about flexibility, but now in today's industry 4.0 to 5.0, we must think about flexibility, and some call this agile. Okay. So this I borrow from Professor Chen Jin, because otherwise, how can Chen Jin research and my actual research? So I have PhD students also, but most of them are from Indonesia, and these are very smart students. As sample, they taught in London Business School, they taught in Australian Graduate Business School. So they are not like somebody think that the Indonesian standard is no. Some of them even graduate from Harvard, but they do a PhD back in Indonesia because they want to improve the economy of Indonesia. Yeah. So therefore, this is Chen Jin's presentation from 2020. China wants to be an innovative country, but again from your number 1, Xi Jinping, right? You need to be the top 10 innovation-oriented country. So by 2030, not because I want to make you happy, she knows it, because every time mention China will be number 1. No matter how you stop it, cannot stop, because the train is really very fast. If you stop, it's called collision, right? The momentum is very fast. However, this one, I don't know until I saw this from Professor Chen Jin that by 2030, so China, this is also announced in the newspaper, I think 2 years ago before the COVID, by the same leader, that China will be where somebody has to benchmark. Not China is behind, China is in front. So this is the message very clear. I think which upset some people in the geopolitical situation. Any question?
We have no question. About this.
So this no question. So this is the highlight that the need to strengthen basic research, highlight originality, and encourage free exploration. So my argument, when 我教书的时候，我就跟人家讲，不是我教你一个 topic， 我只是教你怎么样想。如果我们 study international business， 就是想怎么样用国际市场啊。如果 study human resources， 就要想怎么样训练一个 human resource 变成一个 human capital， 就是 human capital 就是我放1块在中国的工人可以给我10块，我放1块在马来西亚，那工人可以给我4块，一样的产品，我去哪里投资呢？我投资马来西亚，是不是说中国每个东西一定是排第一哦？因为你的country， 你的国家也是很大。So some of the people make this example Seagate， 他发现说，如果的工厂是 outside of 杭州，我就惨了，因为那个 transportation 很远，哦，所以他说我通用工厂放在杭州就是 OK， 我放外面 for integration 就不行了，因为它的 transportation cost 而且你的cost is very high, so therefore focus only in a certain country. So now you can see some of the USB is made in Taiwan because like Toshiba cheaper than. 以前不用看了，你一拿 any USB is made in China, but now start will be different now because it's cheaper than. So this is the meaning of I actually teach people how to think, but how to think must be very structured, right? Because then I become a psychologist, but I'm not a psychologist. 我是management 管理的 psychology， 不是那个 psychology 的 psychology。对，就他说要 originality， so originality must start from the way we think。如果我们不有灵活的想法，然后 nothing can happen， it will remain the same. So this is the second highlight that what China realized that for indigenous innovation 有4种。这个是你们要现在进行的是 original innovation， 不是要跟人家的，是 think unbox。以前人家说我在 think inside the box， 这个是一个 Israelis 的从 MIT 讲的，他说 don't think outside the box， think inside the box， 你要achieve 完全achieve 那个 total productivity 先。然后 think outside the box， 然后其他的人说 think outside the box， but then you want originality, you think unbox. So what is called unbox? That means you are in the helicopter view. So this is what innovation, original innovation, 你们的谢金平mentioned. So that is how the country should go forward. So again, from 0 to 1, that means 以前我们有example， 现在人家讲那个 quantum computing， right? And IBM said we are ahead. Then Huawei said I'm also there. I don't know who is there. Because I'm not sure. Until the product is in front of you and say my speed is 10 times yours. Okay. So from 0 to 1 is very important. So example, Nobel Prize winner also. I just now asked, right? He said, I think physics you have one. You check maybe Nobel Prize winner from China. So eventually, those studies you have one Nobel Prize winner in other discipline from China, then 2, then 3, then 4. Okay, that's the 0 to 1 concept. Because this is again the what we call the sphere diagram, SPHERE. From creation is 有一个东西，但是这个东西会不会赚钱我不知道。In today's term is that there are also many school of thought that if I don't have, for example, Hewlett Packard, those days, for example, 3M, I can have a product, but this product may not be useful now. I park it one side. But when the right time coming, just like what Steve Jobs said, now Apple has all the technology that is required for the iPhone. We have to launch the iPhone. So if you look at his YouTube, his talk, so they have, of course, Apple always write own software. The software is already ready. So now is the iPod can combine to download music, and also now the GPS is affordable. People can use the Wi-Fi and tap into the GPS 4G. Then and also of course cloud technology. So why don't we launch the iPhone and of course ship over Apple? So the invention was there, but innovation is keep on changing because innovation must always talk about value. For example, what is the value to every one of us is different. So 好像昨天我跟他讲了，第一次他出国参加这个 academic meeting for me many times I think Harvard also have been there. The first thing is, if this is my first time, 200 people listening to my speech. What do you think? I panic, right? So what I do? This is America. This is not Singapore. I cannot run out alone. So I take 2 packs of whiskey to cool myself down because I must paralyze the brain. Right? I don't care how many people in front of me. So and then because it's very cold, it was in winter that they had this conference. So cut those stories short. Then I start to think. Slowly, because after drink you can organize sober, think. So then I overcome the fear. The first time is the most important. You must overcome the fear. So what is my value? My value is that do I present that is of value to all these top professors. And what they like about my presentation is simple to understand, no question. Very important. Simple understand, no question. So that's what you want them high by, but I cannot get the price, right? Because the price gives to the one is most complicated one, all the equation, and then they say, well, this is academic, okay? So creating that value is very different between you, between me, between you, between me, but if I can collect all the value together, that is where the breakthrough is. That means I'll be recognized as the leader of the value. This is what we have done. So this is again from Zhejiang University. So he says that actually innovation, original innovation is very big. It's not sure. Also, he gives example of disruptive innovation. Of course, we all know is Clayton Christensen. If you ask me, I can still remember because his definition is so simple that how can we transform complex and expensive products into simple and affordable ones. So this is where the Japanese overtake the American, the German by focusing on the smaller CC car and produce cheaper but only last 10 years. Then the Korean says that I also can learn from you because ask ourselves, maybe I need a car that lasts me 10 years. If I ask my son is only 30 years old, will you buy a Toyota? I say, what for? What car will you buy? I say, Hyundai. Why Hyundai or Kia? 3 years enough. I sell away before I have a problem for maintenance. I buy another one. So you see, there is a market for them, which is called the latent needs market that everybody did not understand. In today's term, management school call this INSEAD Tim Chan Blue Ocean Strategy. I found the market space there. People who only own the car for 3 years, therefore I provide the cars to this group of people. And this group of people is not small. These are the younger generation people. So this is where disruptive, radical means I change very fast, and then come to trigger, or we have to think of the problems. For example, why must we walk from here to there? Why don't we ask the robot to bring the food from there to here? So this is happening. The hotel I stay, Sharma. Singapore, yes, because nobody wants this job to carry the cooked food from the kitchen all the way to the table. Because if you pay me money just to carry the food to the table, it's very cheap. I don't want the job. So therefore now the robot take the job. Durable innovation or breakthrough in different aspects, and then indigenous innovation means that this is really something that is good and it's something that people are looking for. So this is where Professor Zhejiang and myself together we create called Wholistic Thinking Beyond Disruption, because again Kim Chan, the professor from INSEAD, Blue Ocean Strategy is very famous, so almost hit 2 million copies already worldwide. We came up with a new book, and this new book actually talks about collaboration. We have to collaborate. Don't fight. Let's join hands to aim for bigger market, aim for better product. But this is only one aspect, so we are looking at co-competition. For example, Singapore and Malaysia is fighting for the same customer. But what do you think? Singapore says that I need the water from Malaysia because we have limited space, so we buy the water from Malaysia, drinking water, and we process it and sell it back to you at a loss. So they say, okay, you give me a good offer, I will give you water. Raw water is cheap for me and give it back. So co-competition. Completeness means that if I only sell my product, example, electric cars, I am shortage of the iPhone. So I am BMW, I approach Apple and says, will you actually collaborate with me so that now it's not the iPhone, but the tablet. So therefore, we have the tablet, and the tablet now we can use it as an iPhone. And when I go to the office, I pull out the tablet, which is my computer in the office. So therefore, we now provide complete products. And Apple says that I will also produce electric car batteries for my Taiwanese Foxconn, because Foxconn will produce electric cars. So I will produce the battery for Foxconn. So completeness. And go assist. Example, Volkswagen bought over Audi. Volkswagen bought over Bentley. Volkswagen bought over Lamborghini. Volkswagen bought over Skoda. Bought over Seat. All these brands coexist, but this is under Volkswagen, and Volkswagen will become the biggest automobile more than Toyota. So, but because Volkswagen was in China many years ago, because they know China is the biggest market, if Volkswagen want to compete with Japan, long time they already planned for that. But even Toyota come here is too slow, because it was not providing the taxis. Volkswagen provide all the taxis, right? Okay. So this is what we said. Holistic is only one item. So holistic is to integrate. So how to integrate? This is where later on you can see the tools. So in my MBA class, from 2 hours to 3 hours, Harvard Business case study, you can now finish within 45 minutes by using my tool. So this is integrate, and systems of course implement is to control. So if I don't have control, how can I measure? So that's what we said. If you cannot control, cannot measure. The next one, of course, change. How can I change is to innovate. So every day we are innovating. So change and change and change. And finally, actual means commit. How can I get people commit to improve together? So improve continuously. So this is what also from Professor Chen says, that the individual must change, the project team must change, the policy governing the colleges and the universities must change. The universities must also try to recruit the top talent to come here to do the research, regardless of from which country. And of course, country level improvement, of course, the country has to now provide the right incentives for the people to have autonomy to see what discipline they want to do. So that's the reason why in America, the top universities are not public universities. Harvard is a private university. MIT is a private university. Stanford is a private university. So you can have your own policies. Public university, University of Washington, yes. But then what happened? Things they do will be much lower. So with that, this is the concept I did build together with Professor Chen, is that if you want to be fast to understand any subject, be it economics, be it human resources, be it finance, you have to build a concept like that. From the concept diagram, how can I make people understand? It's called the 6 A's. 6 A's is a process of you can see later on, great awareness, then alignment, and action. Then a 9-box solution was actually from a top professor from London Business School, Sumatra Bhusha. He has written 3 articles in the Harvard Business Review, together with Christopher Barnard from Harvard Business School. So, but this was very well received, but did not actually put into a model. So Professor Chen and myself will put into one model, which is called the 9-box solution. And of course, if you want to invent, you cannot straight away have a new product. It's bit by bit, which is project-based, accelerated action review. So the rest are the tools that will help you to bring everything together. So now you apply different thinking skills called holistic thinking. You will provide complete solutions, not just one piece, all the pieces together. And then there is a requirement to change the way we think. After change the way we think, we change the way we work. After we change the way we work, we change the way we behave. And finally, it becomes the performance, which is the culture of performance. Now this is a concept diagram. So for example, my PhD students say, hey, Professor Chan, you want to supervise me? I say, can. Whatever you think your PhD, 3 years, 5 years, put it down to this diagram. If there's no purpose, there's no paradigm, there's no project, because I use case study, I don't use empirical research. I use case study, I cannot accept it. Because all my research projects are financed by companies. That means they pay me as a consultant. If you want academic research, I told him, go to the academic professor, because I'm a practice professor. Because otherwise, I'm going to take you to a different. Although my PhD is in empirical, but I knew the industry needs both academic research and practical research. So otherwise, no donors, no people give money to the university, the university goes down. I thought that private university in Indonesia. So therefore, to link them together, you need people. The stakeholder, you see value in them. You need the process to convince the stakeholder. And this one, as I said, is the bridge from Stanford. So Stanford says that every of their subject has a standard paradigm. How do we strategize? How do we implement the strategy by projects? How do we operate? And to operate, we must make sure we have all the elements. Then we must tell what have they learned from this research. So must know, should know, and need to know. The planet is the Internet of Things, which is now what we call our AI, what we call our latest technology. So this is technology, and of course the people is the one who is see the value in the project or who benefits. So yesterday was Professor Stephen Shi, who says that all the research now in America, especially when the government gives the money, they ask you what is the value add back to the government, because otherwise government is shortage of funds. Now there is a strategy. Everything we do must point to the right direction. What if our culture not fit in our research? That means, I think we have a very simple example. I cannot understand my supervisor. My supervisor cannot understand me. After 3 years, I produced chapter 1 of my thesis. They said, Casey, take it back. It's not correct. I said, why didn't you tell me? He said, oh, the first 3 years is on literature review. No, I agree on your literature review, which is chapter 2, but I disagree with chapter 1. You died. So I told all the PhD students, your first year, you better ask the supervisor, then make sure you publish the part of your research topic in an established journal. In marketing, it's called AMA, American Marketing Association. In business, it's called JIPS. Whatever is your topic, otherwise you're going to hit the wall. Okay, so this is culture in industry the same. Look at all the joint venture between Mercedes-Benz and Chrysler, fear. Between Sony, Ericsson, fear. You name it, they have it, all fear. Because for a simple reason, culture doesn't fit. If you study your international business, you know there's a professor called Gert Hofstede from the Netherlands. He already has the 6 dimensions. If the 6 dimensions are very far away, then you should not go into a joint venture, regardless of what. So strategic fit, so that it fits and it fits. That is important. Now, when you do anything, why people disagree with you? So how many of us actually, when we finish chapter 1, I go and talk to my supervisor and say, what is the purpose of chapter 1? I clarify. So chapter 1 must be what I said. You have to look at the relationship between let's say 5 research problems, and from the 5 research problems become your research objectives and become your research contributions, or the areas of the contribution. Right? So have to go ahead. Next is, why do you think this is original? If you cannot satisfy why it's original, then what do you think will happen? You feel? Very simple, because the chapter 1 already. So, but every chapter also must be like that also. Therefore, convinced that why you deserve the doctorate, and then how to carry out the research methodology. Well, next one is who is going to be your external examiner. So I don't know about in UK you need 3 external examiners for a PhD. Well, the first one is generic, the whole picture. Second one is the specialist. Third one is to make sure the first 2 did not collide with you. And this is not together. They send to the first reader first. First reader comment, receive back to the UCD, keep a secret. Send the second one, come back, comment, keep it as a secret. Third one, and on the day of the examination, they open up and they read in front of you. And then they say, oh my God, I can never pass because all negative. If they say your thesis is good, however, chapter 1, this is a small problem, chapter 2, the likelihood you pass. If they say no question asked, that means you have made them very rich. All the 3 external examiners. Okay, now that's the joke. So when you have to communicate to the whole world is when you publish your first article, and then people say this doctorate is worthy. Otherwise, you cannot call a professor. Right? So in England, it's very clear. You cannot call yourself a professor. Somebody must say that we honor you, we give you the professorship, and this is international standard. So you can see in Singapore, assistant professor they can appoint, associate professor they can appoint. Full professorship must be the international committee to say this guy qualified in this subject as a full professorship. That is the criteria set by the Singapore government. So there are very few full professors in Singapore. Finally, where in the area they compromise, because why? There's always anticipation of risk, and then confirm how much it costs you to carry out the research. Or sometimes, I'm not joking, UK has proper technology, it was first in the world, but it costs a lot of money because all the universities, almost 99% are all public universities. So they said, forget it, take up total technology, just focus on one subject. That means you study engineering is engineering. Total technology means you spend 5 years to study from engineering to management of human resources to marketing, etc. Okay. So now this is the 9-box solution beyond disruption. It means everything we do must have a purpose. So everything we do must have a purpose. Then sometimes we are too ambitious, we go out of scope. So your strategy cannot be achieved. So how do we? Now you have a purpose, who's supposed to carry out the purpose, so you need to confirm the people, and then they must know the way. So in management, there are only 3 very simple things. People is discipline in execution. If I cannot execute, come to my turn and say, sorry, I don't know how to do. Well, second one is called speed in execution. I don't have the technology. Other people already very far ahead of me, but I still here because I don't have the equipment. I don't have the technology. And the third one is called ability to execute. I want to do, but I don't know how to do because nobody teach me. So if you don't have this, don't do. Because otherwise, this guy is going to struggle and struggle and struggle. So this is where what we said, the strategy is good, but cannot be implemented. So how to reverse the whole process? So after so many years of research, the Project Management Institute was formed in 1969. So now it's 4 years old, right? 2023 minus 59, 53 years old. 4 years old, 54 years old. Right? Then everybody agreed that the strategy must be converted into projects. So can you imagine the theory and the practice? The theory already said 54 years ago. Who came out and said this? Hewlett Packard. HP was the first company to say that, and that's why they formed the PMI, Project Management Institute. Now America has the most qualified project managers in the world. Second, 中国. Do you know how much money your construction industry has donated to PMI? She was in the conference before the lockdown, 2019. $2 billion US, because the construction industry, the top 9 companies, top 5 all from China. This is talking about $1 trillion in the world I'm talking about. So therefore, if China asks PMI project management institute to come up with the standard knowledge for construction industry and save only 1% of total cost, be it in China and all the projects carried out by the Chinese company, we are talking about more than $50 billion. So they said that is good money. The thing will be finished by 2025. So America was shocked. How come China is so fast to invest in this knowledge area, which is the standard for project management in the construction industry. So everyone have to follow. Okay, that's it. So this is what we said. Very important, the strategy. So we must change the organization structure. So yesterday, I think from NUS or on Saturday, yes, the structure is always the same. But Steve Jobs says that I cannot change the structure just like our body structure, but I can change. Example, I'm not strong my leg, I can have a walking stick. So what is the walking stick? The walking stick is another projectile structure I can use, where I am the CEO called Steve Jobs. I will overlook all the projects that is currently carried out. Once the project is finished, I go back to spend my time with the organization. So he spent about 60% of his time on projects and 40% of his time in Apple organization. So when he's away, who took over? Tim Cook. So when he died, Tim Cook has no problem because Tim Cook was doing 60% of what Steve Jobs was doing in the former organization structure and 40% in the project structure. Now Tim Cook also has a successor. So when he became the CEO, he do exactly the same as what Steve Jobs was doing, spending 60% of his time in the project structure and 40% of his time in the organization structure. Okay, so, and this is the, in management we call balance scorecard, to measure the people, the process, the marketing, and the finance. So far, honestly, nobody come up with this concept or except Professor Zhejiang and myself. So I said, if I were to present this in America, yes, they will agree, but in the heart disagree. But if China, if people agree, they will say, let's try out, and I'm sure it can be done. So in the project-based learning, you don't just, like what Damien said, plan, do, check, act. No. This is history. First, we must see where is the opportunity. So we must see who are my customers. We must see what is happening around us. Then you think, what can I do that is different from people? So that's what Steve Jobs said. Think different. That's why he came up with Apple. Software must be from Apple. Everything from Apple. Otherwise, you buy example, my one is Asus. You have to buy a software for virus. You must buy another software to do other things. But Apple, everything is given to you. So now you plan what to do. You do it fast, but when you make mistakes, you study what's went right and what's went wrong. So now you improve. And that is the continuation of the learning cycle. So now this is what I said. In holistic thinking, to remember 4 types of thinking. Holistic, this is the first one, to achieve clarity, systems, critical, and natural. So, first you must have the concept. The concept, you must integrate them together. If you look at my slides, and I'm not joking, my PhD student said, after listening to you, my brain fired. First time. But after 2 years, he said, I give my people fire. That means my people get very excited. Because why? This is how our brain does the exercise. You have to exercise every day That's why China has so many Olympic winners, right? If you say play table tennis like that, this is Singapore, no? You can win. Cannot, right? So what did they do? They find somebody to play for us. So, but when somebody come back to China, we lost again. So therefore, it's not the country who built the capability, right? Okay. So this is what you want to build the capability. How can you integrate all the relevant theories relevant to Chinese industry, not any industry? How can you build the competence of the people to achieve original innovation? So you have to implement projects. How can you connect to the whole world so that the people assemble your electric cars? The top brands are here because you give very good condition. Whether BYD, I'm not joking, you come to Singapore, you can see BYD electric cars. Why? Because it looks like the Toyota Harry. And because it's so quiet, because it's so spacious and good, that even the Korean now decided to put one R&D center in Singapore, but not to produce the cars, to study why some of these cars the Singapore government prefer to purchase and not the Korean electric cars. Oh, okay. So this is what I say. After you connect to everybody, you innovate, she innovate, he innovate, put all together, it becomes. Still, this is copy innovation, not original innovation. The original innovation is here. So therefore, keep on changing to improve until you have another original innovation. Original is not simple, it's very, very tough. Because once you get that, everybody has to pay patent. This is where the Americans are very good at. You have to pay me to patent because I'm the original one. So I'll come to systems thinking. So system thinking is example. I don't know who are my people, I don't know what process they're using, then I start. This is where the problem starts. Because you will not execute unless you know what's to monitor and control. You put the wrong people in, you will never get the result. You know, put the best people in, you don't control them, you also never get the result. Simple example. Who won the FA Cup, World Cup recently? Argentina. Why not England? England invented football, no? They only got it in 1966. They don't have good players, no, they're very good players, but they all play single. Because the policy says that if I put the football into the goal, my salary for that minute increased by £1 million. So I want to be the one who hits the ball inside. They don't play for the country, they play for themselves. So that is the reason why you must have the right policy also. That's why China will have the right policy, because the number one always says so. We want original innovation. So you come back to me and tell me who are the people who can do it, the process you want to use, will become the end product, which is the original innovation product. Okay, so if the theory is right, the concept is right, you can explain many things. If the theory is wrong, the concept is wrong, you get stuck. That's why I told everyone, everywhere I go, I don't teach you about the subject, I teach you how to think. Are you insulting me? I say, no, I'm insulting you. I am sharing with you. Okay. So this is the very big diagram that Professor Zhejiang and myself has. So this is the one with Professor Zhejiang. We spent 1 year looking at this. So at the 1950s to 1960s, people all say, if I'm a good manager, I'm okay. This is what the Japanese are doing, lean thinking. Everything reduce cost. Korean copy. You reduce cost, I can also reduce cost. Now, MIT says that 1960 to 70s, design thinking is not new. I come up with a good design, I come up with a design that please the customer, I'm ahead of you. Okay. Design thinking is people driven. Ergonomics that the chair, your lightings, and even your space. So design thinking, effectiveness. I design correct, you feel comfortable. Next one, 1970s to year 2000. This is America. All the entrepreneurs, you have Steve Jobs, you have Michael Dell, you have Oracle, you have Microsoft, which is Bill Gates. Disruptive thinking, passion driven, right? Bill Gates was admitted to Harvard. He said, no, I want to go to the rooftop and imagine what I will become, what should I do with my life, and then he came up with the software. Now, when we pass the new millennium, 2000, everybody says that, you know, Apple is so powerful because they're agile. But agile is not a technique, agile is a mindset. This is where everybody got the wrong answer. IBM started agile way before year 2000, and nobody believed IBM. But IBM managed to convince Steve Jobs that this is the right direction because it's a mindset. So Steve Jobs changed everybody's mindset based on principles, based on promises, based on guidelines. No? So therefore, paradigm driven. Paradigm means that change the way we think, change the way we work, change the way we behave, change the way we perform. Now come to the holistic thinking. Everything we do must have a purpose, because the purpose is to save the world, our social corporate responsibility, our environmental social responsibility. Otherwise, destroy the whole environment. So that is our purpose now. Primary objective, secondary objective, still you have to become prosperous. You have to add value to everybody's life. So that's the management, leadership, entrepreneurship, all must assist together in entrepreneurship and now stratepreneurship. That's the one that we are finishing the book end of this year. So I'm now in chapter 5. But who will agree with you? This is important now. Somebody who is the accountant, who is the lawyer, who is the engineer, who says that, will it affect my life? After you have come up with all this new thinking. The one whose passion says, don't wait. If you wait too long, like Nike, just do it. Take the idea, implement. There's somebody who is pessimistic says that don't do it because it's like making sound, right? Like don't follow more, don't follow that. Otherwise you're in trouble. And somebody says that we will miss the boat because China already so powerful. 2030 they implement this. If let's say the book came out in 2024, if you have 10 companies that will agree, 50 companies agree, 100 companies agree, what happened? Not one company. One company has 10,000 people. 50 companies have many people. That is a different story. So thinking skills can unite everyone or can make everyone to actually disagree and become disassociated. But what we want is unite. Because this whole concept of uniting the ideas together. So positive judgment, and the one who is the creative and original innovation says, yes, that's how we invented the first original innovation, come the second, come the third, and the person from the big picture, of course, is the country, number one, the president of China and the politician will say, this is how we can move forward and how we can help other countries who are less fortunate. Like example, the COVID, right? We all set up a station in overseas side for the injection, especially in Africa, right? Not just go there, set up the factory there. Indonesia also, they are very thankful because in a way give to them free. Otherwise, they have no money to buy. And many people will die in Indonesia because it's the third most populous country in the world, highest population. So this is the last slide. So therefore, everything we do, including my purpose here today, is to credit. My clarity is that what am I offering? Prioritize is that consistency is whatever the models I develop can be applied to. So in Indonesia, 20 years already. I practiced model. It was in one of the research paper, or international research paper, and now people are looking into it. And 10 years ago, people said, I don't think it's proven, but from 20 years, I have about 1 year, I have 80 students, not PhD, 80 first degree students now. So 20 years, I have quite a lot of them. So therefore, 1,600. And out of these 1,600, 10% of them are in the top management school in the world. Example, Stanford, MIT, London Business School, and not they enter, they became the top student. That is important. Enter and become top is different. So therefore, consistency is there. So now I want to bring this to China to communicate and say that it works also. Hopefully, as I said, I'm very fortunate that Professor Chen Jin that believe in what we have discussed and support this idea. And therefore, I also must stand. What's the name? Dong Lao Shi to bring me here. So the people must be committed. It's just like in the Olympic Games. You know the high jump, right? The four stroke, the guy who jumped backwards and changed the whole world record. 4 stroke jump, you know. High jump, normally high jump, you run and then you use the pole and you jump by looking at the front, right? But this gentleman, he jumped from the back. Because his leg must be up in the air. If his leg is below him, he will kick the pole. So that's the same thing. The people must be committed because nothing can change unless the people change the way they think. It's not just, do this, I do. That is giving you instruction, but the person to come and tell you that why should I do all these things? Let me give you a better way. Let me show you a better way. That happened to IKEA. IKEA actually started with, they are moving furniture. So they said, the furniture is so big, you occupy the whole truck and you pay for the whole truck. So he told the owner, if you have furniture that can be folded, will you buy? The guy said, of course, but must be cheap. He said, okay, I will produce one furniture first, the table, which is the most common, can be used for your study table, for your dining table, and you fold up, and now you very easy to assemble, and you want to move to another place to fold up again, or even give to friends, you can fold up, put in the car, and send it to them. Okay, so this is performance must be controlled. It becomes better and better and better. This is why we say original innovation must break the record of the previous performance. If you, like Olympic Games, if you do not break the previous record, it's not original. It's still just we call radical innovation or incremental innovation. Electric cars is, so Tesla, yes, nobody make that electric car, he make it, so he's the original innovation. And back to, we must now increase the productivity so that more people can share the joy with you, will share your value of the product and to start working. So I think with that, my conclusion is that first you must change the way is leadership, the way we think. So the leadership will influence other people to think. What are thinking? The 4 thinking skills from holistic, system, critical, textual. Work is project management, convert strategy into project. Behave means that my action learning tells you that I must change from my old behavior to a new behavior with the right attitude of transformation. And perform is a culture. So once I've done that, this is what I'm here to discuss today. I think that's about it. Yeah, thank you for your time. I'm so sorry. I said that in Zhongwen. Is there any question? Any question?